This is Homegrown, showcasing Alberta producers, artisans, and farming communities. Brought to you by Connect First Credit Union.
Hello, I'm Laree Williamson, CEO of Agriculture for Life. We're buzzing today with Lisa Graham of YYC Beeswax to learn her story about how she started and grew up on a farm and ended up here with the bees and the buzzes.
Thank you so much for having me.
Having a little bit of a chance to get to know you and visit, let's start right at the very beginning. So where were you born and where were you raised?
All right, I was born in rural Alberta in a very tiny community called Rainier, and I grew up there. My family has a finishing feedlot and they're involved in agriculture. And as a summer job, I had an opportunity to work with bees in a neighboring community. So I had that experience. I went to high school in Brooks, and then I made my way to Calgary for university, where I have 2 engineering degrees.
We've got this love of science, so the whole STEM, and you've brought that in with the arts.
Yes.
And I find that fascinating because today so much promotion is for young women to bring all of that together and to pursue careers in STEM. And I really enjoy the story of how you've taken that and now your passion and your creativity and your entrepreneurial spirit now is driving what we're talking a little bit more about today with your YYC Beeswax business. So you're a busy girl, you got lots of things going on, and one morning you woke up and said, I'm going to start a business.
That's kind of how it happened. Yeah. Yes, my partner at the time was working on a startup in the software space, and I was kind of watching in the background what was going on and all this interesting thing that was happening. And I saw an area that I knew nothing about, which was business. And I said, oh, that looks interesting. I was in the middle of my master's degree. I was collecting data, so I had extra time on my hands. And I said, well, what could I do that I could try my own business? And I had a Kijiji ad running around my beeswax sheets. So I was selling the sheets and candles and some lip balms. And I said, well, this ad is kind of working, so let's just take this idea and let's try running a business.
And so when did you start? When was sort of the official year that you would sort of say, I started my business?
2015. I can't remember the exact date. It's March 9th or March 10th. And I still remember the day when I got the paperwork from the lawyer saying I was officially incorporated, and I opened it up and I saw the name, I saw the date, and I just had this stupid grin on my face, and I'm walking around with a dumb grin on my face all day.
And how many years later, you're still smiling, so you're enjoying it.
Yeah, it's we're getting close to 8 years. Next March will be 8 years.
That's fantastic. You run the business predominantly yourself with help with your family.
Yes,
Yeah.
My family is a huge help. And we've been very fortunate to get some grants as well. So we've been able to bring some students in, and we do a lot of work with university students primarily, helping them out with projects. So this semester, I think I have about 10 student groups in business programs and in engineering programs, and we basically put forth a project for them, and they can ask us all the questions they need to fulfill their course requirements, and then they give us a report at the end of the semester, and it's kind of, we help the students and they help us move forward as well. The students are able to have some real world experience.
Exactly. And you get some of that fresh thinking,
yes,
right, from the students.
Yeah, and the enthusiasm. It's always great to work with the students. They bring so much enthusiasm and so much excitement about what we do, and they've got such great ideas.
Yeah, absolutely fun. And sometimes when you're in the business, you forget to stop and look around and see what you have accomplished. So it is nice when they can come in and give you that. So from an educational perspective, I think you do some workshops and some sort of hands-on components for participants. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. We do workshops. We just started getting into workshops again since I think it's about July. With all the COVID closures, we wanted to keep everybody safe. And we did have some online workshops where we educate about the bees and the beeswax, where it's coming from. So when I do the workshops, we do mobile workshops and workshops in our shop. And I like to start with introducing people to where the materials they're using comes from. So I'll bring out my beekeeping equipment, maybe some frames from the hive, some honeycomb, and show them where the materials they're coming from, what it looks like, what some of the behind the scenes is. And then we integrate that into some kind of artsy project. So if we're doing the rolled candles, I'll talk about how the sheets can be used in a beehive. And that's kind of what they were originally used for. And as a byproduct, we can also make candles from them. And when we're doing a solid candle workshop, I can talk about this is where it comes from, this is the process it goes through, compare it to some of the other waxes on the market, palm wax, soy wax, they have to go through a huge rendering process, so it's pretty intensive. Beeswax, we filter it and then we can use it. So looking at some of those differences so they have a better understanding of where it comes from and the process it goes through to get it ready to craft with. And then we do our fun crafting project, and hopefully they take away a little bit of an understanding and appreciation for what the bees have done for us to bring us these beautiful products to work with. And they also get to go home with their projects, their made projects.
So you're sort of drawing that expertise of when you were working in the summers and learning about the bees, and bringing it now into the products. So what type of products then, product line do you have within the business?
Oh, well, I have a history of being a crafter and I like to play. So when I started the business, we started with beeswax sheets and rolled beeswax candles. So that provided our basis at the beginning. And I had made a lip balm for my family for Christmas and I had really great reviews. So I threw that in as a last minute bonus, I guess, to the product line. So we had sheets, rolled candles, and lip balm. And over the years, I developed a lot more lip balm flavors. We have, I don't know, a handful that are in testing right now. We're working on a tinted lip balm. I'm testing it out today. We've expanded the Bath & Body line to do some more lotions that are good for gardeners, good for people who are working outdoors. I make my own face cream, and anyone who's outdoors, whether it's for sports or working on the farm, whatever that may be, I've had really great reviews. And the candles, there's some examples here of the solid candles. So playing around with molds, we do the hand dip candles, container candles. Anything I can think of to try, I will probably try it out. We've been playing around with some luminaries. For people who aren't really into the candle space, we have melts, and the focus is on the natural product. Keep it simple and keep it quality, and use essential oils a lot of the time. We do fragrance oils as well. Some people prefer those, but try to keep it as natural as we can. For about 5 seasons, we've had bees, and we're working with the flow hives from Australia. It's absolutely beautiful, the honey, when it comes out. It is so clean. I do not do any extra cleaning on it. It comes out so beautiful, and the taste is incredible.
Oh, nice. So the products, where do you sell the products?
We primarily have an e-commerce store. We were doing, before COVID, we were doing a lot of markets. We've scaled back on that a lot, so I only do 1 or 2 markets a year. And I wanted to focus on developing the product. We're looking at going through a rebrand. We've been doing a lot more international sales.
Wonderful.
So looking at global expansion, where the opportunities are for that. The Canadian brand is so significant on the worldwide stage, so we really want to leverage that with what we do and get Alberta's honey industry out there even more. And not just the honey industry, but the add-on products, so the candles.
All the value adds.
Exactly.
Right, that's huge. And I was going to ask you that, and I'm glad you brought that up, because as you're starting to work with international markets, I was going to say there's probably a little selling advantage to the Alberta story around the product. So
Yeah.
interesting that, yes, for
Yeah,
sure.
and Alberta's the biggest honey producer in Canada, and most Canadians don't even know that.
Right.
So if we source our beeswax locally here in Alberta, and there's no reason why we shouldn't be one of the biggest producers of these value-added products. Everything is right here.
Right, and such an opportunity. You're right, because from a value add perspective, and I know from agriculture industry and agri-food and all of that, value add is a big hot topic of we need to do more of that in our province, but not just for the foods, but for also the products. And I love you've talked about the simple natural ingredients, and you're making all of these amazing products from it that people can enjoy. And now expanding your business around the world, that's pretty exciting.
Oh, it's very exciting.
Where do you see the business going?
Oh, I have so many things I want to do with the business. There's a lot of projects I want to work in. I've always been drawn to greenhouses. We had some family friends that had a greenhouse. That's where I go in the winter when I need something green. And I've always wanted to have my own greenhouse. I've thought about taking the bees inside a greenhouse so we can have honey production year-round. We can do some experimentation with plants that have a longer growing season. Things like the manuka bush, if we could get that growing in a greenhouse, we can produce local manuka honey. Manuka is used in medicine. So if we can produce that here, we're increasing the number of places where manuka honey can be produced. I think it's primarily in New Zealand where it's produced right now. So there's a very limited geographical area to get this honey. So if we can bring it into Canada, then we can be serving our Canadian healthcare system and North America healthcare system if it works.
That's great.
And if it doesn't, that's okay.
Well, you tried it, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because that science and artsy side of your brains are putting it all together.
Yeah, and then there's the educational component too. So one of the ideas I had is to create a space where you can go to unplug and create basically mini cabins and put bees in the side of the cabin and have locally made everything inside from your dishes to your the furniture, and it's basically an escape for you, and you can open a little door and see what the bees are doing outside. So I've got lots of crazy ideas like that.
Yeah, but you know what? It's the crazy ideas that have gotten you where you are today.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite part of running the business?
Oh, I like to get my hands dirty and make new things. I have way too many ideas. I always think of more ideas and I don't have enough time to implement them. So when I can take a new idea and create it, experiment with it, the experimentation is so much fun. And then at the end of the day, it's all about bringing people joy and showcasing what the bees have to offer us. So putting it in somebody's hand and knowing that they're going to have a really great experience with the product.
That's really neat. Yeah, the little bees, hey, they're hardworking engineers, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, well, we're kindred spirits. We both work very hard.
I was gonna say, they're perfect business partners for you to have.
Yeah.
So,
sometimes I think they work harder than me.
I think your story is absolutely fantastic, and thank you so much for letting us come and learn more about what you do.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you again for having me. It's been wonderful to have you.